I found the lump, and the lump was, in my mind, probably a cyst, even though I had noticed that it was getting harder and it felt bigger.
There was no lump, there was nothing that any outward sign of anything problematic, apart from some blood on my nightdress.
I was away, and the minute that I got back, I went and saw my doctor. I really felt that everything was going to be fine.
It took 6 months for the team to actually identify that there was cancer.
She sent off a letter to the breast clinic, and within 2 weeks I went and had a scan.
They then kept me back a bit, and I then moved steadily down the corridor to imaging room, and then a biopsy, and then something else.
And there and then they did a biopsy, and they realised that it probably was a cancer and not a cyst.
And she looked at me and looked at my right breast and said, "Oh, that doesn't look right."
When they found it, it was so deep and my breast tissue was so dense that it did not show up on mammograms. At least 2 tumours, very deep.
I left knowing that there was probably a tumour of about 4 centimetres in my right breast.
At that point, the discussion was all about surgery, possible radiotherapy.
I get 3 phone calls from the hospital saying that I need to go back to the hospital and I need to make an appointment urgently. And I was literally booked in within 2 weeks.
It was a surprise. I do remember feeling quite traumatised by just the experience of having the biopsies.
At that point, I really was in denial. I was thinking that it could be taken out by surgery and that everything would go back to some kind of normality afterwards.
I took a friend of mine to help me with that, meeting with the surgeon.
Underneath that really was a dread, an undefined possible trauma, but it was all quite repressed and very much not in my frame of mind.
I got tearful straight away.
The night before my surgery, I went down to the sea where I usually swim for sunset, and I got into the water. I felt my body spreading out while I was in the water. This huge peace came over me, and I realised that I was engaging in some kind of symbiotic molecular exchange with the water. I felt the water entering into me as I was expanding. So subconsciously that was a very, very powerful act of healing that I now can revisit in the aftermath.